So, Tom, what are the details then of what UBS is doing, its sweeten pay packet for first-time analysts?
Yeah, exactly. So they're aligning with sort of rivals like Deutsche Bank, Citigroup, Barclays PLC, and effectively what they're doing is giving their first-year analysts sort of a baseline pay package of $100,000. So that's about an increase of 15 grand, which is pretty typical across the sector at the moment. As you point out, these banks are looking around trying to work out how on earth are we going to keep our young talent, in a world where they're sort of working even harder than they used to be, and sort of motivation is pretty low.
Yes, indeed. And they might be lured to other opportunities. I'm reading a piece here by Marcus Ashworth, one of our colleagues on the opinion team, that says Wall Street bonuses won't win over young talent. That's his view. What are you hearing?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Obviously, this is, one way to try and keep kind of young talent around. But as Marcus points out, the problem is the pandemic has accelerated this, as people are really looking at kind of more like lifestyle choices. And if you're sort of a young, ambitious person, you might weigh up tech, for example, or go out and do your own thing, just because, there you have A, a better lifestyle, and B, fundamentally the long-term returns on, being in a tech company or being a startup entrepreneur, vastly exceed the extra 15 grand you might get, in your first year in banking.
And let me ask you about other news in banking, because we seem to have been having this sort of drip of news about people leaving Credit Suisse. What are the latest details on the exits at CS?
Yeah, another bank has reported to have left from Credit Suisse. I think this brings the total exits to something like, several dozen at this point. And, that's reflective, not just obviously what we're seeing with other banks in terms of the really hard hours, etc., but it's much more to do with, Credit Suisse's own problems it's battling, whether it's the Archegos fallout or its involvement in Greenfield Capital. So what you're seeing is a lot of poaching, and, senior bankers there are pretty keen to jump ship and, perhaps move to another place.